Everybody, we are live. It's a pleasure to be here with the legend and Gigi Fernandez for a live Q&A. Really happy to be here. And yeah, welcome to this summit session. Gigi, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
Yeah, same here. Thank you for making the time. I know you've been super busy. I see you snacking there and on some yogurt and
Well,
granola. Looks pretty good. So yeah, healthy.
lunch.
You're keeping it healthy
Uh,
all the way from your playing days.
well, it was Easter lunch yesterday, so I have to make up for it.
Oh, nice, very
Yeah.
nice. And are you in Connecticut right now?
No, I'm in Tampa.
Oh, Tampa. Okay, Tampa. Okay,
Yeah, I moved
nice.
here in
Great.
2017, so I figured
Okay.
people wanted to come to Tampa to play tennis and not so much Connecticut. So
Yeah, that's
it's worked out
smart.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, super smart. Very smart. So, hey to some peeps here. Hey, Tom again from West Palm Beach. Okay, there you go. Hey, Gigi, I used your 1, 2, or 3 shot poach in doubles today again. Fantastic. It's a great. We talked about that tactic actually yesterday with Peter.
Which one's
So
that?
the
Oh,
I
the
think
1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's good for the planned
yeah,
poaches. When you can't poach,
yeah,
when you choose balls moving faster than your ability to get to it. That's a good one. Good.
yeah,
I'm glad it
exactly.
helped.
Yeah, for sure. I
So
got Harris. Oh,
did you
what's that?
pre-ask questions? Did you
Yeah,
pre-ask questions? You have a few?
I've got a form here, and we got a few questions as well. But let's see. Harrison, hello. This is a video stream session indeed. Richard, good morning. So excited to be here. Alex, oh, with a question already. All right, we'll just go with Alex's then. Alex, how do you handle hitting overheads into the sun? And Gigi, I'm sure that you experienced this like in your 5 million tour matches or whatever it was. So how did you handle those overheads in the sun?
You know, the worst place to hit overheads was at the Australian Open. Something to do with being down under the angle of the sun at if you played at noon or 1 on whatever court, but for some reason particularly on center court, like it was so bright. Um, so a couple of things you can do. First, if there's righty lefty combination, then have the lefty serve against the wind, right? You can use your non-dominant arm or hand to block the sun. That's what I
Mm,
used to do. I used to put my hand on the sun so that I would have some kind of shade in my eyes. Wear a hat, and don't underestimate that. Wear a hat, and then also wear sunglasses. Definitely a lot easier
mm,
to find the ball when you have sunglasses. And then on your serve, you can adjust your toss or your position on the court. So if your normal place where you're standing is in the line of your toss, maybe move a little bit closer to the alley and turn a little bit sideways so your toss is you're not adjusting your toss, but you're adjusting the angle of your body a little bit. So that
mm.
sometimes will get the ball off the sun. Um, so that was about serves, right? But the overheads is more your hand, and sometimes you have to let them bounce.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean the hat, the glasses, and using the arm are the three key things.
Love that. Thanks for that, Gigi. We
How do you
got
do?
some
How do
more
you
people.
handle it?
I use the hand as well. I use the
Yeah,
hand, or I just pray and hit it.
pray, right?
Yeah, one of those two usually. But yeah, great
You
advice there.
yell
Hey, Bruce.
yours.
Yours, yeah, that's a good one too. Just let the partner handle it. Hey, Bruce, from Southport, NC. Hey, Millie. Hey, Sudu Siddharth. I'm sorry if I didn't
Butchered
mispronounce
the
that.
name. We butchered his name.
I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm going to practice that, but I really like the name. Let's see. Verge or Verge. You're at the net in doubles. Your partner hits a short lob that bounces at the service line. What do you do? Move back, hold your ground, or just get ready to duck? Great question. What do you think, Gigi?
That's a good question. So when you think about people are going to hit a winner, normally they're not going to take you out. I mean, unless you're playing somebody who's going to take you out and really hit it at you, which is really, if you're playing somebody that's good, it's not a good strategy because they can reflex it back. So most people who are going to put the ball away are going to hit into one of three zones, right? Into the openings of the court. So you have two players standing on their normal doubles position. Then there's space to their left, space in the middle, and space to the right, like the two alleys in the middle. So I always say if somebody's going to go hit a winner, whether it's they're hitting an overhead or they're coming to rip a forehand, then the two players should shift into one of those positions. So generally, if somebody's hitting the ball hard or an overhead, straight on is what you want to cover. So I should have put my cord up there, but it's not up. So if the person's sitting in front of you, you cover the alley, your partner's going to cover the middle, and then we give them the wide one. Because if they hit hard wide, they're more likely to miss than if they hit hard through the middle. But definitely back up. You definitely want to be backing up. Somebody's hitting an overhead, but back up, not straight back, but back up into the two zones, which are each covering a zone. We give up one of the three. And then when the opponent is about to hit the ball, you got to split because you want to be able to react right when they're hitting the ball. So you don't want to hit the ball as you're backing up. So you back up as quick as you can, split, and hopefully try to be going forward into that shot.
Nice. I like that, Gigi.
And whatever you do, don't turn around, because when you turn around, that's when you get hit.
Yeah. Yeah, in the butt. It's funny. Good stuff. Thanks, Gigi. Let's see. I think you do. I think I know the answer. Do you recommend moving to
Broken
Florida?
ankles.
How do you like it?
I love it. And actually, my sister and my wife, Jane Geddes, they're realtors. So if you're moving to Florida, give us a call. If you buy a house from them, I play tennis with you, but I'm not allowed to say that because it's against realtor rules, but we still do it. Yeah, I mean, it's Tampa Bay, and we have Tom Brady for one more year. The weather's great. It's just getting hot here. I think, yes, I mean, but still 68 in the morning. So, I mean, if you go 10, 100 miles further south, like Miami or Naples have been hot for a while. So we have really nice weather between November and April. June, July, August, you want to get the heck out.
Yeah.
If you don't like the heat. But yeah, it's a great place to live.
Cool. Love it. And I guess Broken Ankles is in California and just needs a little nudge, which I think Gigi has provided.
Yeah, come on. Come visit Tampa. We'll show you around.
Yeah, there you go. Boom. Awesome. Hey, Rodrigo. Nice to see you again. Hi, Gigi. I coach women's tennis at the collegiate level, which is fantastic. Any tips for helping them feel more comfortable getting close to the net? Many seem to be afraid and lose many opportunities to poach. What do you think, Gigi?
So this is a very common problem. I think people are afraid of the net. Sometimes they don't know how to protect themselves. And the main problem with that, or the main reason people have trouble protecting themselves, is that they're holding the defensive position with the forehand volley, right? So if I always tell players, let me get my racket. Do I have a racket here? I do have a racket. Hold on.
Sweet.
So if you're about to get hit, right, and you defend with a backhand, where am I? You defend with a backhand, like you can defend your body with a backhand, and you can reflex everything that's here. Like if you have a forehand to defend, now everything that's gone on this side, unless you do this, you can't protect yourself, right? With the backhand, you can reflex everything back. So it's getting used to it. I would say, stand at the net and in a practice, just drill balls at them in a practice setting, so they start reflexing the balls back. Like how I got my hands was complete accident. My dad and I used to play this game when I was a little girl, 8, 9, 10, or maybe younger, and he would grab a basket of balls and he would stand on the service line, and then I would stand on the opposing service line, and he would take the basket of balls. And my dad was like a 3-0 tennis player. Okay, he was not a good player, but he would. I'm sorry, 3-0s, but he was not. He was not like a coach. He was not a good player. So he would take these balls and whack him at me, and he was trying to hit me, but it's a game. I mean, he never was intentionally trying to hit me, but he was really hitting the balls hard at me, and I was just reflexing them back, and I was trying to not get hit. So I developed those eyes. So you can develop the eyes. There's things you can do to work on your hand-eye coordination and your your ability to see the ball. Hand tosses, like if you have a coach and a player, and then if you just start tossing them balls and they catching, it's working on their fitness, but it's also working on the hand-eye coordination and their ability to see the ball. So if they can do that off the hand tosses, then you start feeding it to them. Again, you're training the eye to see the ball. And then once they see the ball, then they'll have maybe less fear about getting hit because they're seeing it sooner. I think a lot of times the problem stems from not seeing the ball and being afraid to be hit because they don't see the ball soon enough.
Yeah, that's great advice. It's a different sport. It kind of reminds me of one time when I played paintball and I was kind of afraid to get hit, but then once I got hit, then I said, "Oh, screw this," and I just
It's not so bad,
went for it.
right?
Yeah,
I mean, it
exactly.
just stings for like a nanosecond.
Yeah, unless
You
you
know,
get hit in a
another thing is like protective eyewear. You know, like we don't in this we
yeah.
don't talk so much about protective eyewear, but if you do get hit in the eye, you can go blind. So if you have concerns about or if they have concerns, you can wear, you know, any kind of sunglass will protect the eye, even so hit the eye, but and you know it'll hurt, but you won't lose your eyesight, right? So if they're worried about getting hit in the eyes, then that's protective eyewear is a good option.
Yeah, I actually do know two US state captains who both got hit in the eye and now they wear protective eyewear. So yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
point as
yeah.
well.
I mean,
Yeah.
and also
Yeah.
that like I never played, I never wore glasses when I was playing because I could never find glasses that I didn't lose depth perception. And I just have
Mm.
this company called Ria, who I'm sponsoring,
Hmm.
make sunglasses that I can actually play with. So I don't lose depth perception. I don't lose the ball. I don't see the frame. So they have created glasses specifically for tennis players that are designed to pick up and the pickleball players because they're designed to pick up the yellow ball. So so yeah, I'll put a link here, or maybe you can send people a link that gives you a little 10% discount if anybody wants to try those. And it protects your eyes because the sun rays on your eyes are very damaging. And if you're playing tennis, you know, 20, 30, 40 years, you're going to develop trigems, you're going to develop eye problems. So wearing
Mm.
that protection is super important.
That's super cool. It kind of reminds me of the belay glasses, but I haven't seen them as much lately. How do you spell these sunglasses? What's the
It's
name?
RIA.
RA. Okay, cool.
But I'm gonna
I'm gonna get
while we're talking, I can easily find the link, and then because you get a if you use the code Gigi, you get a 10% discount. So I'm gonna
cool.
find the link and post it here in a minute.
Very neat. Gonna check them out. Good stuff. So yeah, we have a lot of questions that are streaming in, which I love to see. Let's get to the
I put
next.
the link up there. Oh, that's private. Did you see that?
No, I think I saw it in the private chat. We have a
Yeah.
private
So
chat for those of us. So go to the comments, or if
comments.
you can,
You know,
if
it's not
you're not
letting me.
able to post that, I'll
No, you
post that
can do it.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it here. So let me post
Oh,
that.
does Ria have prescription on Grace? Hi, Grace. I think they're working on it. I don't know if they're ready yet, but they're a new company, and their mom, the mom of the kid who started the company, they're two super smart Harvard graduates, and his mom, did my very first clinic that I ever did with an adult, which was Kathy Rinaldi. I think it was in
Nice.
2012, and Kathy Rinaldi and I did a clinic with four ladies for like 4 days, and then the kid's mom was at the clinic. So it's kind of cool when she approached me after about helping Jordan out with his company. So I really enjoy the glasses. So check them out. There it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's see. What else do we have here? Christopher, hello. Doubles strategy for playing against two pushers who stay on the baseline.
Good
What do you think?
question.
Yeah.
So
Rush
I
the
would
net
say
or what?
no. What I say to that is bring them in, right? So if you're
Yeah.
playing
For
lobbers
weakness.
or people who like to stay back, just drop shot return. Don't serve and volley, right? Just hit soft serves. Make him come in. You know, if you drop shot them and they come in, then you put them off their game. That's one. And then two, I think people get in trouble sometimes playing pushers where they overhit. You know, they try to hit winners, they try to kind of hit through them, but pushers tend to like pace. So the harder you hit the ball, the better they defend. So mix your paces. Don't try to overpower them. And then the last thing is use your angles, because a lot of times, because they're so far back, if you hit short angles, if you come to the net and hit kind of angled volleys, sometimes they'll be open for you.
There you go. Awesome. Love it. Love it. Hey, Tracy from Minnesota. Charlene, How do I best set my partner up to poach? What do you think?
Good question. So, generally speaking, you want to keep the opponent in the singles court, right? So when you're hitting cross court shots, if you hit it wide, if you're cross court shot wide past the alley, your partner can't poach on that because they have to guard their line, right? So
Mm-hmm.
anything you keep in the singles court is poachable. Deep and penetrating, ideally. I don't know, Charlie. I don't know. I should know your level, Charlie. I think she's been to one of my clinics. Or this name seems familiar, but if you could put your rating, that kind of helps because depending on the level, we help. If you have really powerful shots, that's what you want. You want the ball that's driven. And then what Tom and we were talking with Tom before we started doing the planned poaches, where if you're not successful poaching because the ball's traveling faster than your ability to get to it, then plan it. So tell your partner, I'm going to go on the first one, I'm going to go on the second one, I'm going to go on the third one. And then that frees you up to leave it a little bit sooner because your partner knows that you're going, so they're going to cover behind you. So hopefully that works.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. And obviously, try to help them, train them on like the cues that they need to recognize to go on those poaches. Let's see here. So we got some more. Oh, broken ankles again. Question number 2. My sons 11 and 12 are playing some USTA, some doubles in USTA tournaments now. Do you have any suggestions to get them working together better as a team, aside from family therapy sessions, laughing emoji?
Oh my Lord. That's interesting. Yeah, that's hard because I mean the question is, do they get along? Do they get along off the court? Because if they don't get along off the court, and not all siblings get along, my twins don't get along. They could never ever put them on a court together. So if they don't get along, then you're kind of fighting an uphill battle. Um, so I don't know what to tell you. I mean, I think they have to have defined roles, so like the server, the server whoever's serving leads, right? So the server calls to serve, whoever the service partner has to kind of go by the rules of the server. Server gets to do whatever they want because they're the one serving, and they're responsible for the hold. Communication between points is important. I mean, they really have to communicate after every point, whether it's verbal or nonverbal. So whether they're talking to each other and saying, okay, I'm going to hit the serve to the backhand, or they're just, turning around and having eye contact. But, when people get mad at each other on the court, it's kind of hard to overcome, especially for 11 and 12-year-old boys who are maybe are not mature, right? They don't have the emotional intelligence yet to understand. And I have a 13-year-old boy, so trust me, I know. But they don't have the emotional intelligence yet to sort of analyze this. So, the one thing that sometimes helps is if you get them to understand, if they've ever played a team that's not in sync, where the partners have gone astray, gone in separate directions, and ask them how they felt at that moment. And they probably felt they got it. They're going to win this match because their opponents are not communicating. They're mad at each other. They're playing singles on the doubles court, right? So as soon as I saw that for my team, I was like, we're going to win this match, right? So you don't want them to see that of your team. So you never want to show the opponent your weakness. You never want to show the opponent that you're not in sync emotionally or mentally. So I don't know if that'll help at this age. Maybe when they're 15 and 16, they can understand that better. But just my main advice to broken ankles is to keep it fun. Keep it light. Yeah. They are young. 11 and 12 is very young. Like I said, I have 2 youth athletes. And the nature of the beast is pushing the kids to be more involved than they really should be at this age. But it's really frustrating because as parents, there's really, particularly if you have kids who are in a team sport, you have no control, no say over it. Like I can't control my daughter's soccer schedule. It's ridiculous. She plays way too much soccer and she's going to be fully burned out by the time she's 16. But I can't do anything about it, right? So with your son, you have the control of their schedule. So make sure you're not burning them out. You're not overplaying them. Let them be kids.
Yeah. Great advice there. Great advice. Oh, and Charlene clarified that she's a 3-5, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
In regards to her
So
question.
use the plan poaching on those, Charlene.
Yeah. Good stuff. Let's see. What do we got here? We got Kale Cougar 1999. Hey, from Dallas. Hello. Sue asks, coaching high school doubles teams to players who do not play year round, can you give me a suggestion of where to spend most of my time as doubles is so complex?
Yeah, doubles.tv.
Yeah,
Gigi
there you go.
Method online program and get a crash course on understand those. Like those should not be complex, right? Because there's really one shot that you should always be hitting, and one only. Like one shot, that's the high percentage shot. And if you're always hitting the high percentage shot, then you're covering the high percentage shot. And if you know what shot that is, then you leave the low percentage shot for your partner, for your opponents to hit. So that kind of clarifies what you should be covering. You always cover the high percentage shot, which is cross quarter through the middle, and you leave the lines open. You challenge your opponents to hit the low percentage shots. But if I had to say with Sue, I would say just really practice in high school tennis, practice with 1-up 1-back formation, because that's what, unfortunately, that's what it's what it boils down to. Every point starts in the 1-up 1-back formation, and generally in high school tennis, and I coached a high school team in Connecticut when I was there, so I know what the level is. But most points start 1-up 1-back and end 1-up 1-back. Sometimes they end 3 back, 1 up, right? So if you can really maybe develop some poaching strategies and also use the Australian formation. Teach your students how to use Australian formation, because there's generally weaknesses in the ground strokes. Like, if somebody has a weak backhand, they should never serve cross court on the outside and play a cross court point. Somebody has a really bad backhand, right? So do Australian formation every single time, and they can go hit forehands. Most this level players have better forehands. So take them off their weaknesses, right, and put them on their strength. It also puts the net player with a forehand volley poach when you do Australian formation on the two sides. So just that one tip, like do Australian formation every time. So really teach them how. And it's not eye formation. Eye formation can be tricky because eye formation is intimidating for the server. They have to serve over their partner, and it can be difficult for the person at the net that's crouching down to come up and find a volley. I mean, true Australian, where they're both standing on the same side of the net. If you're not familiar with the Australian formation, you can Google Gigi Fernandez Australian formation, or just Australian formation, and there'll be plenty of videos on how to do the Australian formation.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, I love using Australian to get that forehand on the ad side.
Right.
Righties. Yeah.
For righties. Yep.
It's magical. Yeah. We have Pete here who says, "Hi Gigi, I love you." So big
hi,
fan.
Pete. I love Pete.
Yeah,
Pete and I
we
do the funnest thing. Like once a month, we do this thing called Grand Slam Call of the Month. I'm sure a lot of you here have attended. I don't know if you've ever been to one, Miran, but we get together usually on a Monday night at 8 p.m. and we have a great past champion. We've had Chris Everett, we've had Mark Woodford, Jim Courier, Stan Smith. I mean, we've kind of run the gamut. And we talk. We do this with them. It's super cool. We always hang up and we're like, man, that was so fun. So yeah, it's a really fun thing that we started. That's continued for over a year now. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. That's a really great thing that you all are doing. Love it.
Yeah, and it's free. Great. You just got to show up on Zoom and off we go.
Yeah. Where do you go for that, by the way? If
you go to my website, let me see. There's on their online coaching, I believe it's there. I'll look it up. Online learning. Yeah, the first step on their online learning is Grand Slam Call of the Month. And then you just have to pre-register on Zoom. And then you'll get we pre-ask questions. So we send an email a week or two before. And then people ask questions, and then we pick the best questions and ask them. And we have Tracy Austin next Monday. We have Mark Knowles coming up in a couple of months, and Todd Barton is coming in a couple of months.
Sweet. So,
yeah, super fun.
Todd. Yeah, I used to use his racket, the Skunk.
Oh, really?
Hammer. Yeah, I love that racket. Cool. Who else do we have here? We have Jan or John's, apologies, but from Guam. That's pretty awesome.
Hi,
Very
John.
cool. Yeah, and I think Grace had that question about prescription earlier. Let's see. Brandy, same question. Oh, same question as above. Sue above. Where to spend most practice time when coaching doubles for middle school?
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, for middle school, I mean, I think it depends on the level of the players, because some middle school players, they just play middle school. They don't play tennis really. So I don't know how good your players are, but really, one thing I didn't mention is really getting to understand positioning at the net. Like when they're at the net, they need to be in the middle of the box. Like hopefully you have heard my spiel on where to stand at the net, but you break the box in half, where the lines that are set is neutral. If you take your racket and you stretch it out and you draw a circle around that neutral position, yeah, just like a big circle around it. It's about a 6-foot circle in the middle of the service box. They should be somewhere in that circle at all times. Like if they're standing close to the alley or back by the service line or in the fourth quadrant, what I call the fourth quadrant, like when you broke the box in half and broke it in half again, you created 4 quadrants, and really explain that to them so they at least understand where they should be standing. And they can look down and see, oh, I lost that point and I was standing in the alley, right? Well, when you're standing in the alley, you're leaving, 90% of the court for your partner to cover. So really try to get them to understand positioning, and that positioning wins a lot of points.
Yeah, positioning so key there. Millie, keep it low, wide angle. True. Let's see. Gordon. Hello, Gordon. Just playing first match of year on grass. Wow, wish I could do that. Well, what do you suggest?
Hi, Gordon.
Gordon's
Gordon?
the man. Oh yeah,
Gordon
yeah.
too.
He's
Everybody knows Gordon.
very active. Yeah,
Right,
for sure.
Slice and dive, surf and volley. Let's see. Well, depends how good the grass is, Gordon. So you're probably playing in some pretty good grass. If the grass is bad, slice, serve. Like I used to change my serve for Wimbledon. I had a completely different serve on grass than I did on. I mean, not completely, but it was. So whereas generally when you're snapping the ball, right? You snap the ball. On grass, it was more this way. Like I would never do this on grass because the ball would sit. But if you do this on it, kind of like slice, then the ball bounces and shoots, stays super low. So on bad grass, you want to slice. If the grass is good, sometimes the kick serve is good because it actually bounces. But again, I don't know what kind of grass. I assume you're not playing center court at Wimbledon, so let's just assume that the balls are staying low. So I would say slice. Big serves are not necessarily the thing, because remember, the harder you hit the ball, the less time you have to get in for your first volley. So it's a well-positioned 3/4 pace serve is really what you're looking for. Then you want to anticipate what return is coming. So you always have to cheat, right? So I would always hit my serve knowing what the chances of the opponent hitting the ball cross court down the line, the return. So it kind of cheat towards the area where I thought the return was going to go to, depending on my serve. And if you hit a good serve, they're going to be late. Then you have to cover as if they would hit late. And if you don't hit a good serve, they're going to step into it. Then it's going to go generally in the other direction. So yeah, don't do serve and come to the middle. I used to serve and come. But on the do side, you would come like maybe 2 feet left of the middle, and on the outside, serve and volley 2 feet right of the middle for singles.
Very cool.
That helps.
Yeah, I think it will. And Gigi, do you have a favorite surface that you played on?
I love grass. I really did.
Okay.
I had, funny enough, Natasha and I had our best results on the red clay. We won 6 French Opens. But I think that was because on clay, and again, this is before. There was. I hate to say there was power in my generation. There was power, but it's power and spin, right? Before the game became all power. Like when Natasha and I played doubles, good doubles still won. So if you serve and volley, people serve and volley and came in. And if your volleys were not good, then on clay you were in trouble, because then the opponents had all the time in the world to step in and rip a passing shot, right? But Natasha and we used to really penetrate our volleys. So I think that was the difference. Like even though it's red clay, it's slow surface, I think the reason we won so much is because our volleys were so solid. You would think that would be good on grass, but it wasn't. It was really on the clay that, because then the other players that weren't sticking their volleys, we were taking advantage of.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Makes sense. Yeah. That totally makes sense. Very interesting. Let's see. Victor. Hey, Victor. Same question as Sue and Brandy. Looking for tips to help with high school doubles. Have very limited time for drills and strategy sessions. Is there anything else that you can think of?
Yeah, the movement pattern of the net player when their opponents are in a cross-court rally, right? So we always move in a triangle. So as the ball moves towards the opponent, they're moving forward, and as the ball passes them, they have to move back. And a lot of times people don't do that; they just move side to side. But they have to back up to the service line so that they can, if the opponent poaches, they have some chance to defend. And then they have to move forward because you have to be forward of the service box if you're gonna poach. So don't move side to side, but in a triangle.
Gotcha. Love it. Let's see here. So we have two questions that are very similar. First, Christopher, how do you decide who will play deuce or ad court? And then Mark similarly says, same question as Christopher. I'm a lefty and typically play the ad court, but the pros seem to mostly play the lefty in the deuce court. So what do you think?
Yeah. So first of all, how do you decide who plays outside? The first question is, who's the better player? If there's a clear better player, unless you're playing no ad, then you put the better player on the outside because they're going to be better equipped to handle the big points. Of course, like it or not, the big points are game points, right? They're all happening on the outside. So that's number one. Number two is you want your strong ground strokes on the outside. So if you have a better forehand, you want to be on the deuce side. If you have a better backhand, you want to be on the outside. And then you want your weaker volley also on the outside. So if you have a weak backhand volley, you want to be on the outside. So then that's in the alley because you're not going to hit a lot of balls from the alley. If you have a really good backhand volley, then play the deuce side, and then you'll have the backhand volley through the middle. If you can't decide after all that, just toss up, whoever is more decisive about it. And if you don't win the first set, switch and try it the other way. And then as far as lefties, the reason that in our generation, and Mark, I don't know how old Mark is, but in our generation, lefties could not play the deuce side because if I had a lefty on the deuce side, I would just serve wide to the backhand all day, and my partner would poach all day long, and that was that. They could not, because of the technology, they could not get that backhand cross court of a good wide serve. But then technology changed, and now anybody can flick a wrist and hit a cross court backhand, or anybody that's good, anyways. So the determinant factor is ideally, Mark, you're playing the outside because you want the forehand volleys in the middle. But the determining factor is whether you're able to get that cross court backhand past, return past the player at the net. So if you're pulled wide and you can hit that cross court and get it past the net player, then I'd say try it. But again, I don't know how old you are. And if you've been playing that your whole life, it's kind of hard to change. So yeah, but ideally you want those forehand volleys in the middle.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, and Mark just followed up and said 67. Yeah, the wide serve is a bit of a problem for me. Yeah, it's interesting too. I obviously, thought about my own game selfishly. Like I usually actually play the deuce side just because my forehand is much stronger than my backhand. But there's other considerations, like you said, because I guess you said that you want the weaker volley on the outside, so the ad court would be better then. And then also a lot of times, it sounds bad, but I mean a good amount of the times I'm the stronger player, so I should play the ad side as well.
Yes.
So there's a lot of things to think about, I guess.
Yeah. So the reason, like, I always wanted to play the outside, not on tour. Natasha and I worked like that. I just became a habit for me to play the backhand, and I had all the inside out forehand and my backhand cross court. But when I started playing recreational tennis, I always played backhand because I felt like when I was just retired, I felt like I could control the outcome of the game. It's like, okay, you're serving to me, you're never holding. You're not going to hold, right? I mean, you're going to have to do something really special to hold because for someone to win a point off me on the ad side was not easy, right? So I felt like if my partner just won a point, that was a break. We were going to break. So you always want the better player on the outside because you can control the outcome of the game when you're on the outside.
Yeah. No, that's a big point. Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's see. Verge, at the 4-0 level on the service return, do you time your poach as the returner is just about to make contact with the ball?
Yeah, so we kind of addressed this a little bit earlier when I was talking about the planned poaches. Ideally, yes. Like ask the opponent. It's not when they make contact with the ball, but when they have started when they're into this portion of the swing, then that's when you can start taking off, because it's very hard at that point. It's very hard for them to change and go in the opposite direction. But the problem is, how I've said before, like as we age, we get slower, but the ball doesn't, right? So we have an unsolvable physics problem. We have two moving objects and an interception point. You're moving, the ball's moving, and there's an interception point somewhere over there. And sometimes our velocity we cannot solve it. Our velocity is not fast enough for us to get to that ball. So that's when we implement the planned poach. And the planned poach, you're going to tell your partner when you're going to go. You're either going to go, so you're on the service return. So you're returning. So you're going to tell your partner to poach on your return, which would be the first one, or the second time they hit the ball, or the third time they hit the ball. And then that would give them a little opportunity to leave sooner, because you know that your partner's coming behind you.
Gotcha. Thanks, Gigi. Karen, FY prescription glasses are available. Excellent.
Sweet. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah. Cool. Bruce, so many things to learn. How does a coach work through prioritizing what a student needs to improve? Do you have a mental checklist or system? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So before I answer that question, Bruce, why don't you tell me what kind of student are you working with? Adults, kids, age, high school, recreational players, and then we'll come back to that question.
Okay.
All right, we'll go to the next one.
Okay, cool. Let's see here. Okay. Steve, at 4-5 level, just bought a new ball machine. Congrats. What kind? I'm curious. Do you have any recommended drills for improving doubles skills, alley and cross court drills, cross court with approach and volley, etc.?
Yeah, that's great. So the hardest shot to hit, the hardest shot to practice in doubles are the inside shots, right? So when you're hitting with someone, you're in the do set, I'm in the do set, and we're hitting forehand cross courts, and you can work your forehand and work your angles. But hitting the inside out backhand, it's not an easy shot to practice, because when you're hitting with someone, generally you don't get that shot, right? Because if you're playing traditional doubles and you're hitting inside shots, your partner should have had that ball if it came from the cross court, right? So I would say set up the machine to hit shots kind of halfway between the alley and the center of the court on the do side, and hit backhands on the do side, and hit your inside out backhands. And then also practice bringing that backhand down into the alley in front of you. So ripping that backhand into that alley, and then do the same thing on the other side. From the ad side, you would get forehands from the middle, practice hitting the inside out forehand, and then once in a while practice hitting the forehand into the alley. Same with the volleys. You could work on your inside out volleys. So maybe, I don't know, you could set up the machine to alternate forehand, backhand volleys, but on your half. Like, don't stand in the middle of the court to work with the ball machine. Start at the half of the doubles court, and then ideally the ball comes from you. You position the ball machine across you on the angle, right? So it's near the backhand, near the ad side alley, and you're on the opposite ad side. So the ball's coming from where it would normally come when you're practicing these shots, because where the ball comes from affects how the ball leaves your racket. So if you're really trying to perfect a shot, and at the 4-5 level, you would be trying to perfect shots, make sure the ball's coming from the right angle.
Excellent.
What do you think, Armand? What would you say? Do you work with the ball machine?
Yeah, I actually have a slinger bag, which I like a lot. Yeah, I have been just when I did practice like doubles drills, it was just kind of just the basics of like cross courts and then like come in, hit volleys and stuff like that, and just independently overheads. But I definitely like your system better.
Yeah, and also like practice your rollers. I don't know if you all know what the roller is, but the sharp angle cross court shot.
Oh yeah.
At 4 or 5, you can start working on that. Put a target. A target could be like I used to use a cart, like a ball cart, or you could put a towel. So it's like maybe 2 by 2, right? Put the target where you want to land your roller, like a little cross court short angle, right? And then just get a million balls there and start working on it and start kind of maneuvering the racket and see if you can get it to dip. So yeah, the ball machine is good for that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite shots in doubles because I mean a lot of the players can't really handle that, or at best they're going to pop it up and then your partner can just put it away. Those are great. Did you have a preference towards rollers like in the middle of the court, which obviously the percentage is a little higher, or did you prefer the cross court roller?
So I never hit rollers in the middle. I always hit them cross court.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but yeah, because if I hit it in the middle, they were going to poach on that ball. The person in front of me was going to poach on that ball.
Gotcha. Right? Okay, so they would be able to close in enough. Like, so I guess I was like, even if you dipped it in the middle, like, I don't know, that would be a tough shot, right? Or would they still?
Yeah, no, because generally with the roller, you need an angle, right? And so first off, to have the angle, you have to be hitting from outside around your alley, right? If you're in the middle of the court, you won't have the angle. The further outside you are. So I would position the ball to come to you with you standing somewhere around the alley, and then try that roller. I say cross court because in the middle you don't have the angle, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to develop this shot that signals to your partner that you have it, right? So then they can't cheat. They can't cheat to the middle. They can't close to the middle because they have to guard for that ball. And you can also, while you're at it, practice lobs. With the same. If you can hit the same stroke roller, same stroke lob, 4 or 5 players can start doing this, right? So if you have the same motion with a roller and the same motion with a lob, now you got them because now they don't know which one you're hitting.
Yeah, that's devastating. Yeah, I think the Bryan brothers had some sort of like play that they would practice like alternating that. But yeah, that's devastating. And it's no better feeling actually than I think those two shots, like the cross court roller and then like
the lob.
The cross court lob.
Oh yes. So speaking of the Bryan brothers, they just agreed to come back next year. So I'm super psyched about that. They're coming back February 1st to the 4th. So we'll have a Bryan brothers camp 2. So if anybody wants to sign up for that, or not sign up, we're not signing up yet, but again, on the website there's a page where you can submit a form if you're interested. They're the best. I mean, it was so fun. They have such great energy and they're so engaging, and they were supposed to be there for 5 hours, 2 of which were playing. They played the whole 5 hours. They played with everybody. They played with the 3-0s, the 3-5s, 4-0s. They played with everybody.
Wow.
They didn't want to just stand around. So they would play in on the drills, and everybody got to play a lot against them. It was super fun.
Wow, so cool.
They're
That's
great.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's so cool. We have a little question. Did you see this one?
Oh my God, this is from Peter.
What advice would you give to players who want to play with their spouse?
Do you like your spouse? Do you like your spouse? Do you want to like
Peter,
your spouse?
Be careful, Peter.
I mean, it can be very rewarding, It can be very rewarding to have success with your significant other. It can be a lot of fun if you don't have, your relationship's different. Some relationships are peaceful and calm, and some are combative, and I don't know what kind of relationship you have, but it can definitely be fun and rewarding. Just make sure you communicate about it, and then one bit of advice: when a match ends, don't talk about it for 24 hours. So wait 24 hours to talk about the match, especially if you lost.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. All right, let's see. Bruce, I'm 4-0, but interested in.
This was the coach who wanted to know how to prioritize.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. So at 4, I mean, So the age-old question: do you work on your strengths or you work on your weaknesses? And that's, as a coach, you're always balancing that, because you want to make sure that your strengths remain strengths, and then your weaknesses slowly stop becoming weaknesses, right? So I would say, I used to divide my time. I'd say 75%, 25%. So 75% of the time I worked on my strengths, and then 25% of the time, or maybe 30% of the time, I would work on a weakness and try to slowly improve that weakness, so that you want to get that weakness into the 75% pile. So you want to turn a weakness into a strength. Um, and this was during a tournament. Like, probably if I was training not on a tournament week, then that would be flipped. So I would spend more time working on this on the weaknesses. When I had a block of 2 weeks and I needed to improve something, then I would spend a lot more time working on that weakness to turn it into a strength, because you do need the reps to turn a weakness into a strength. So yeah, I mean, how do you identify? I don't know if you're a coach, Bruce, rather, but maybe get a USPTA or a PTR certification. Those two organizations really help coaches identify, identify strengths and weaknesses, and teach people, and really teach you how to teach people. So that would be my advice if you're not sure how to look at a player and identify what they need to work on.
Gigi, I'm curious, what was the biggest weakness? I mean, obviously, it's professional, like you don't have like any huge weaknesses like we do. But what was like the biggest weakness, would you say, in your game? And it could be technical weakness, mental.
Yeah, I can tell you exactly.
Strategy. Yeah.
No, it was not mental. I was pretty strong mentally. Once I figured it out, once I did my whole mental training, but it was my forehand. I had my backhand. I could play entire match and never miss a volley. I could hit back and returns with, slides back. I was always confident with it, but I would get mental with my forehand, like especially if it was slow. Like if the ball came slow to my forehand and I had to generate pace, then I would sometimes get mental on it. So what I did with that is I had a trigger word, and my trigger word was accelerate. So whenever I had it, what would happen is it would get slow, which what happens when you get tense, your muscles slow down. So when I had a sitter, it's usually off a sitter, just sitting there, and I don't want to miss it. And I would think I don't want to miss it, and I would miss it. So then I started just thinking accelerate. So as the ball was coming, I would just think accelerate. So yeah, everybody has them. Everybody has something that's not as solid as everything else. And once the problem on tour is once players figure it out, then they just keep doing that, right? So you don't want to let them know.
Yeah. Very cool. Very interesting. Also, that it would suit your forehand, given that most players, I guess, that's their stronger side. So, but very cool solution. Let's see here. Alan, hi, Gigi. I'm a USPTA pro from Raleigh, North Carolina. Fantastic. I have several clients who play great in practice, but get timid in matches, I would imagine. Any tips? Yeah. Any tips to help them play their best game?
Wow. Where do you start? We needed 2 hours to talk about the mental game. So I mean, a lot of it starts with your pre-match preparation and how you approach a match, what you did the 24 hours before, what you ate, how you slept, what you had for breakfast, what was your routine the morning of the match. I always tell players, once you get in the car and you start driving to your match, you should start thinking about your match. And in that time, if they get mental, if they know they're going to get tied the night before, they need to think about it. They need to talk themselves into positive thoughts and having good feelings, and knowing tomorrow I'm going to play well, I'm going to have a good attitude, I'm going to be loose, and then when you get in the car, you kind of reinforce that. I always use music in the car to set the tempo. Everybody, if they are not playing great in matches, my guess is they're tensing, so they're getting like too mellow or too inhibited. So music, I would use music to affect my mood. So I knew how I needed to be to play my best. So some days I was feeling down, I would play kind of dance music or something super busy. And if I was feeling too hyper, like I was too like agitated, then I would play some classical music or some jazz or something So use that. And it's self-talk. It's what you tell yourself. As we know in tennis, like it's so mental. So if you can convince yourself that your match is a practice match. If you just keep telling yourself it's practice match, it doesn't matter. And I used to my motto was detach from the outcome,
Mhm.
and that was very helpful. Like if you can detach from the outcome, if you truly didn't care whether you won or lost, but you played like you cared, right? You can't play like you don't care. But if you didn't
Mhm.
truly were not affected by the outcome of the match, you would play great tennis. But most people don't play well because they're worried about losing. They're worried about letting their partners down. They're worried about letting their teammates down. They're worried about not looking good and letting their coach down. And they feel like they've spent all this time practicing. They should play better. So they're just the thoughts are everywhere. So if you just detach from the outcome and understand that it truly does not matter if you win or lose. And I had that attitude, and I'm playing for my life, for my career, for my for titles, and in front of 10,000 people on TV, and I could still detach to the point where I really convinced myself that it just didn't matter if I won or lost. I was going to wake up the next day and still be happy and still have two arms and two legs, and we're not in a war zone. We're not brain surgeons. We don't have cancer. We're we're just playing a game. We're chasing a little tennis ball. So just enjoy that. Enjoy the feel of the ball.
Yeah, 100%. I remember having like a really tough match in college where I was up like 6-2, 5-1, and then I was thinking like how I was so excited to win my first collegiate match, and then I lost, and then my coach
Oh,
said, yeah, it was terrible.
you got
And
ahead of
then my
yourself.
I sure did, yeah. And then my coach said, just got to focus on the process, not the outcome, and that's always stuck with me. And then
Yeah.
also, on the flip side, kind of inserting accountability in your practices as well to provide that intensity, so that at least somewhat can mirror how it's going to be when you play matches. Can definitely help with the
Yeah.
with the disparity a bit. So good stuff there. Let's
Yeah. And play
see.
practice matches. Play
Mhm.
practice
Yeah.
matches against your teammates for something, for like who buys
Yes.
lunch or something
Right.
you don't want to do. Like who has to pick up all the balls at the at the next practice. Play for something. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit on the line, and you'll
Mhm.
start playing better in practice matches before you start playing better in USDA matches.
Yeah, 100% agree with
Yeah.
that for sure. Let's see here. So we have
Janita.
Danita. Hi, Gigi. I'm really rocking it since our last visit at Indian Wells. I love it. Can you offer in between point routine suggestions?
Hi, Danita. I hope everything's going good with you. She was at the Indian Wells camp, which were a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the in between point routine is very personal. Like everybody has their own, um, and you have to develop your own. Like I can tell you some of the things I did. I used to fix the strings, and that sort of kept my eyes on on the racket and not kind of all over the place. I used to not step on the lines. Um, I used to put my
Mm.
foot on my left foot on the left sideline when I was getting ready to return. So that was,
Hmm.
when my foot was there, I was ready to go. On the serve, I used to bounce the ball a set number of times, like one or two or three, whatever the number was. But make sure it's always the same number, like 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Then you want to have trigger words on your serve. Talk to me about trigger words on the return. But my trigger word, like I knew that under pressure my left arm was going to come down on my serve. So my trigger word on my, which is the very last thing I said to myself as I'm tossing up the ball, was left arm up. And now that had a triple meaning. The first one is, well, I'm keeping my left arm up, so I'm telling myself to keep the left arm up. The second one is telling myself to keep my left arm up in the first point, the second point, the third point, the fourth point, the match point. So all the points seem the same because I'm not now thinking it's match point. I'm just thinking left arm up. And then probably the most important one is because I'm thinking left arm up, I can't think something I don't want to think, like don't double fault or Jesus match point,
Right.
it was always the
Right.
same, left arm up. So develop a trigger word that works for you, whether it's, stay calm, reach, accelerate, uh, go, get the toss in the right, toss in the right spot. Um, for that he's just a 3.035 player, and getting the toss in the right spot is so critical, right? Because even just that, like if the toss is not in the right spot, don't hit it. Don't hit a toss that's not in the right spot because you're not going to be successful with the serve. So it could be any of those.
Yeah,
Hi,
I love
Gerald.
those.
Gerald's in the house. He just said hi, Gigi, but I want to point him out because
Oh,
Gerald
cool.
came to the Indian Wells camp, and he's a sports psychologist, and he's coming to the Double Summit to which is
Sweet.
in Vermont in July, in end of July, and he's gonna talk about sports psychology with the students there. So hi, Gerald. Glad you could make it.
Awesome. Hello, Gerald. Very cool. Yeah, one that I really like, which is from Jeff Greenwald, who's going to be, he's on the summit as well later this week, and he talks about feeling your feet on the ground. I thought that's a really good one, actually. Kind of just resetting yourself, and like I like playing with my strings as well, and thinking about
Yeah. So actually
what to do.
feeling. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
no,
good.
it is really good. Let's see,
You know what I
Gordon,
used to
very
do that
dry.
was really wacky?
Huh?
I used to look at the trees. You know
Oh,
what? If I
that's
like if I
calming.
was
Yeah.
Yeah, if I was like super stressed out and nothing was working, I would just look at the trees and be like, wow, those are beautiful trees, and really look at the leaves and look at the branches and start to really analyze the tree. And trees have energy, right? They're a living, breathing thing. So try to get energy from
Yeah.
the trees. And pretty soon you're just like enthralled with the trees, and you've forgotten that you're, playing a tennis match and you're stressed out. So
Yeah.
that was a wacky one, I thought, but it actually worked.
That's a good good treatment. Sorry, terrible
Yeah.
pun, but yeah, that's really calming. I like that. And also I like to think about it, does this like have gratitude as well? You think about like how lucky you are to even play the game as well, where other people are suffering. So I don't know, that helps me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gordon says very dry March in Oxford. Sounds nice. Gerald said hi again.
Yeah.
Gordon, we love Pete. Yes, for sure. Let's see. Hey, James. Greetings and thank you. Can you please clarify standing position in relation to readiness in doubles?
What does that mean?
Standing versus readiness. Because I
You
guess,
can
yeah.
expand on that. Let him James, if you're still around, expand on that, and we'll get to it. Go to the next one.
Yeah. Let us know, James. We'll definitely get to it. I think, yeah, I already had that up there. Oh, I can't remember what that's in reference to, Pete, but I think Pete had to leave, by the way. Job seekers, okay. Seems like stronger doubles player would be on the deuce side so that you can either win the advantage when you play ad scoring or you receive when it's 40-15. What are your thoughts on that counterpoint?
I disagree because if you don't get the advantage, you'll never break. You'll see, you can never get a break point if you wait. So if you have, so you're always relying on, if you're relying on them who's weaker to win a point for it to get to 40-15, but assume they're going to lose every point, right? So if you're the better player, they'll never get an ad, even if you win your points. Or they'll get an ad. They may get an ad. I don't know. It's not how I did it. I mean, I see your point, but the points are decided. The points are decided at 40-30. Not, you might get 40-15, but if you don't win that 40-15 point, then you've lost the game because you'll never get another ad. You'll just be stuck at deuce.
Yeah,
So,
I'm definitely.
And again, this is for, and this is for. Let me just clarify something, because Natasha was clearly a better returner than I was. No question about it. Natasha had better returns, right? But we're talking about super high level. The difference between our levels was none, right? We were both great players. We had strength and weaknesses that varied, but she was definitely a better returner. But in this case, we didn't put that into the equation because I could handle the break points, right? But I'm talking about when a 3-5 is playing with a 4-0, or a 3-5 guy is playing with a 3-5 girl, and can the girl return the 3-5 guy or the 4-0 serve from the guy, right? So can the 3-5 return the serve of the 4-0? That's where when we're talking of different levels. Like a 3-5 is not a 4-0, right? So, and a lot of 3-5s cannot return 4-0 serve, especially when it's mixed. So I get your point, but I prefer mine. At
Yeah,
recreational
no.
tennis.
Yeah, no, it's valid.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember just my mixed doubles matches where I was playing with like a 4-0 who was like newly bumped up from 3-5, and I definitely played ad for that match, and you know, it was definitely a lot more tense, you know, at a 40-30 and then 40-15 to my partner. So
right. But also too,
see.
you know, when I was playing against great returners, like when I was playing against Martina Hingis, it was like, God, man, what do I have to do to win a game? Like I couldn't. Sometimes she would get in the zone, and you could not win a point from her. I didn't care how many ads her partner gave her. It was like impossible to hold. But then I would play somebody like, you know, Renee Stubbs, just came to mind, who was very inconsistent. It was like, okay, I'm going to win this game because she's not going to return like Hingis is returning, right? So if you flip that to the other side, you want that strong returning on the outside, because then you get the server feeling like, what do I got to do to win my serve?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway,
But yeah, Hingis,
Craig,
one of
thank you, Craig.
the great players. Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
Craig.
he
I'm
was
just curious
amazing.
by the. Yeah, I'm just curious, like your thoughts overall. It seems like she just had, you know, all the shots and super crafty, had the angles. Like, what was your experience like playing with her or
It was
against
great. I mean,
her?
she was amazing.
Yeah.
So my story with Hingis was that I saw she won her first WTA Tour title with me as her partner, and how that happened was I got to the tournament in Hamburg, and Natasha, I was number one in the world. Natasha and I were. Natasha got hurt, and I had to find a partner, and all the good players were taken. And I remember seeing her play in the Junior French Open final the year before. This is April. I'd seen her the previous May playing in the French Open final. And Natasha and I stopped our warm up to watch her play. It was like, oh my God, look at this girl. She's
Wow.
like serving and volleying on red clay and hitting half volley drop shot inside out winners and half volley lobs, you know, like all these crazy shots that most tour players couldn't hit. And she's like at 13 doing all these things. So I knew she was going to be a good player. And, you know, when I asked her to play with me, she was very, very excited, and we won the tournament. So that's my one story. And then the bat story was at the end of '96, Natasha and I stopped playing, and I had to pick a partner, right? And my choices were Arantxa or Martina Hingis. And Martina was she's not quite there yet. Like we had won in April of '96. We had won the Hamburg tournament, but she still was, you know, not the Martina Hingis that she became. Right? She was still like 14, and you don't know if somebody's gonna be
So young.
You know,
yeah.
yeah. So I picked Arantxa because she was more established, and she was number 1 or 2 or 3 in the world in doubles. But unfortunately, we were both very dominant ad-side players. So one of us had to go to the do side, and it didn't work. And then if I had picked Martina, I probably would have played 5 more years, because that was my last year. And then yeah, so could have, should have, would have. But yeah, that was my one mistake. If I had to do it over again, I would have picked Martina to play with.
Sorry, Arantxa. Oh man, which one have you played? I forgot. Played the do side.
So I went to the dues. We actually mixed it up. For the beginning of the year, we went back and forth, and then by the tournament in Hilton Head, which is the Charleston tournament that just happened, she had decided she'd had enough, and she actually went and asked Martina Hingis to play with her at the French Open. And I found out through someone else that she had signed up to play with Hingis at the French Open. So I called her up. I'm like, "Are you playing the French with Hingis?" She's like, "Yeah, I didn't want to tell you on the phone." I'm like, "That's really bad." So so then I went back and I asked Natasha to finish out the year. Like that's for, you know, if you could just finish this year, and then I'll retire at the end of the year. It's just '97. And then we went back, and I guess we played them. Natasha and I played Arantxa and Hingis in the semifinals of the French Open, and we beat them 12-10 in the third. It was the longest match we played. And we won the French, and then we won Wimbledon, and we made the finals of the US Open. So I was like, let's keep playing, but she didn't want to. She wanted to play with Lindsay. So I was ready to retire. I was having a hard time getting motivated for the non-Grand Slam events. Like that year, that '97, I won 2 Grand Slams and 1 more tournament. But on the regular tournaments, like I couldn't get motivated. I couldn't, you know, it was just not, I was burnt out. I was ready to do something else.
And would it have made any sense for you to just like play like only a couple of the non-Grand Slams, or is it at that point, is it not? not really.
So the problem with me is that I'm the most competitive human being that you'll probably ever meet.
Uh,
And I couldn't accept not being the best, I couldn't accept not being great.
yeah.
And to a fault. I mean, now that I look back, it's like, it's so dumb, really. I still do it. It's
Mm,
just, but it's in my makeup, it's in my being. It's like,
sure.
I'm so freaking competitive. It's to a fault, right? So if I could have been okay making semis, winning 2 tournaments a year, but Natasha and I were winning 2 or 3 Grand Slams every year. So when you go from that, it's like, how, you think it's normal because that's what you're doing. You do it for 5 years in a
Yeah.
row. We won 14 Grand Slams in 5 years. So
Insane.
you think that's normal. So when you can't sustain that, it's like, am I going to be happy not winning any Grand Slams or winning 2 regular tournaments? And the answer was no. So that's in the end why I decided that it was time to do something else.
Yeah, well, that competitive trait is one of the huge reasons why you were so successful. So it's good you have
Yeah.
that trait.
Yeah.
Very, very, very good.
Yeah.
I'll get to a couple of these questions that were submitted. One that I have on the forum, it's not going to be on the screen, but what is your first move with your feet when poaching? Interesting one.
What do you mean your first move? Like which
Like with
foot
your
goes first?
Yeah, maybe. I guess like with the
Yeah, I
outside
gotcha. Yeah.
go.
So I mean,
Yeah.
really, when you poach, you move in a J. So you want to go forward. Put me on the screen.
Yeah.
So you want to go forward. You go forward, and then you step and go. So really, the movement is in a J, because if you turn and go, good players are going to see that and go behind you. But if you're going forward and then across, then and that's from Craig Shaughnessy used that J. So I'm stealing that from him. It is sort of like a J. You go forward and then you go across. So yeah, I don't know if that answered your question, but it's my best answer.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. This is a long one, so I'll read it for you. But should you poach? Should you only poach when you expect to hit a winner, or is it okay to hit a shot that you think will be a winner, i.e., backhand poach from the ad side? You intend to hit the ball past the net player, but being a backhand, it may not be as decisive as the same play on your forehand side. That makes sense. Some partners say, yeah, and sorry to continue. Some partners say that they are ready to hit the shot with their forehand ground strokes since they didn't come in. At what point do I stop being aggressive on the backhand side?
So the main goal of the person standing at the net is to intimidate the opponent at the baseline, right? So anytime you want to poach, even if you don't win the poach in that time, that pays dividends maybe in the next point or 2 points after, right? Because now you're in their head and now they're thinking you're going to poach. So I don't think you ever stop entirely poaching. If you're not winning the points, maybe you're a little more selective and not poach so much, but poach once in a while and not, every opportunity you get. But again, remember that you're there to disrupt the opponent, disrupt their rhythm, and by poaching, you're doing that. Now you also have to implement the fake, because if you've been poaching, people are gonna want to go behind you. So if you can learn to fake and come back, you're gonna get a lot of balls right to your forehand volley. So
yeah, love doing the fake after some poaches. Love all the formations, really. Let's see. So another one from that was submitted is, how do you play better in the tiebreaker when you get really tight?
You don't. You can't play better. No, I mean you cannot play good tennis when you're tight. So the key is to try to stay relaxed. And the things that you can do to stay relaxed, you can breathe, heavy breathing, like deep breathing. Learn to how to breathe from your diaphragm, which is you breathe through your throat, not and you kind of make like a Darth Vader sound. So it's more like, and then when you breathe out, I don't know if you can hear that, but kind of like, yeah, you hear it. Yeah. So it's like a Darth Vader. And then it's deep. It's like the in breath should take 10 or 12 seconds, right? So, when we breathe, we use a third of our oxygen of our lungs when we're normally shallow breathing, right? So if you become conscious about your breathing and you can really take a ginormous breath. That was an in breath, right? And then So you can do that. It relaxes your muscles. Then you can also tighten your arm and relax it. If you ever see the swimmers doing that, that relaxes
Yeah.
your arms. So tighten, relax, tighten, relax.
Hmm.
Sit on the changeovers. People don't sit on the changeovers, and recreational tennis drives me crazy because when you're standing, your legs are engaged and your muscles are activated. Right? If you can sit, then you can do that tightening relaxation drill when you're sitting. When you're sitting, your legs are not holding you up, so your muscles are relaxed. If you stand the whole time,
Hmm.
they're always in use or constricted. So do sit, and uh, and again, just breathe, detach from the outcome, keep telling yourself to relax, enjoy yourself, have fun, smile. Smiling is a great endorphin releaser, so smiling makes you feel good. And Natasha and I always smiled. We're always smiling. Some players are so serious, it's like it gets so like, I don't know, it's a game, we're playing a game. Try to have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. They're just thinking about the
So
money, I guess.
I don't
Or
know. Yeah,
something.
I never thought about the money. I really
No, not
didn't.
you. I'm just.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
players,
Yeah. I mean,
you mean
how
that?
many of them do you think about the prize money? Is there like going for that forehand
I
match
don't
point?
think it. I don't think it's the price money really. I mean, for me,
Yeah.
we were just, not making the kind of money they're making now, but it was not nothing. Like, I mean, I think I
Yeah.
made my biggest win week was Wimbledon. I made $250,000 that one week.
Sweet.
So that's pretty significant, right? But I wasn't thinking about it. I only found out about it when I got the check, right? So
Okay.
I don't think the at least
Wow.
the ones that are successful are not looking at what the check is, because if you stop to think about it, then that's like putting a little
Yeah.
extra pressure, and like you might choke if you
Yeah.
think that the winner makes 3 million, the runner up makes $1.5 million. So if you have that volley on match point and it's going to cost you $1.5 million if you miss it, if you're thinking that way, you're going to choke. Congratulations, right? You don't really want to know.
Yeah. Oh
So
man, it's kind of hilarious thinking about it actually. So good stuff. Let's see, Christopher. I'm lefty. I play deuce side, though I prefer add wide serve to my backhand. Not a problem for me. That's good. Just have to remind my partner to move to the tee to intercept the poach.
right,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
If that works, it's good. Um, Mark, good point. Excellent. Richard, do you have any suggestions when playing mixed doubles on the ad side against a lefty who has a great slice kick serve that pulls you out wide and it is high? Interesting one.
Okay, if it's a kick serve, it's not pulling you wide because the kick
Yeah.
kicks into you. Maybe he has a slice serve. How's a slice kick
Yeah.
wide? So I'm confused by the
Yeah.
question, right?
Yeah.
If it's kicking, it's
Right.
kicking
Because
into you.
if you're on the ad side
My
returning, yeah. Mhm.
right, the kick is going to come back into you. So my standard answer against lefty is whenever you're playing a lefty, you automatically take one giant step to the left from your normal return position. So whatever you normally like to return from, take one ginormous step to the left and start there, because the ball is going to go more to your left,
Mhm.
and come more to your right if it comes to the point.
Yeah.
So just adjust your positioning on that.
Got it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see.
We did that
Bruce,
already.
oh, we did that. Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Yep. Thanks. You're on it.
yeah.
Steve,
We did that also.
oh, we all
He's the
right.
ball machine guy.
Um, yeah, that was a Nove, I think. Mini Moti, any course or any suggestions how to improve shot anticipation? I need to be more observant with better recognize which shot may be coming. Any suggestions to improve my anticipation?
Yeah. So the first thing, anticipation, is seeing the ball, and I find that and again, I wish, I don't know your rating, but most recreational players don't see the ball until it's over the net. That's sort of my
Hmm.
loose analysis of many years of coaching recreational players. So what I tell players is try to see the ball leave the opponent's string, like truly watch the ball leave their string. And then you and I do this naturally without thinking about it, but most people don't. So that's the first thing. Try to watch the ball leave their strings. Then the second thing is try to read the writing on the ball. So whether
Mm.
it's Wilson or Penn, I used to use this. I used to do this practice drill where I had to call out the number on the Wilson ball. So my coach would hit a ball, and I
Mm.
would have to say whether it was a 1, 2, 3, or 4. So when you're really, and I didn't always get it right, of course, but when you're really trying to look for that 1, 2, 3, or 4 in a ball, you're really in the ball, right? So, so try those 2 things.
Got it. Got it. Love that. Thank you. Thank you. Chucker, ball machine. Ball machine, put it on 90 with 100% topspin, shot balls at your feet, get them back
Oh,
over
that's a good
net.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
that person just swung away from the baseline, short balls off of hard hits. Yeah, that's a really good
Nasty.
idea. Yeah, that's
Nasty.
tough. That's tough. Alex, what's the strategy for a 3-5 team against a 4-0 team?
Pray. So I always tell players there's 3 match situations that you face. You're better than your opponent, you're worse than your opponent, you're even with your opponent. If you're better than your opponent, then you have to take chances, because otherwise, if you're better than your opponent, you don't want to take chances. You're going to win, you're better. You just keep telling yourself, I'm going to play my game, and I'm going to, if they get a hot streak, you don't panic. Eventually, you're going to find a way. If you're worse than your opponent, which this would be the case, then you have to go for it. You have to go for 2 first serves, be overly aggressive on your returns. You just got to go for it, because if you don't, they're going to win because they're better, right? And then the other situation I'll cover is you're even with your opponent, and in this case, you don't want to take chances on the big points, because 60 to 70% of those points end in an error, and you don't want to take a chance. You don't want to hit a low percentage shot on the big points. Big points are any game point, the first point of the match, of the game rather, and the 4th point of the game, which is a 30-15, 15-30. 40 love 40 point. So the first point, the 4th point, and the any game point, don't take chances if you're even with your opponent. But if they're better than you, you got to go for it. Otherwise, you're going to lose.
Got it. Got it. Good stuff, Gigi. Let's see here. I know it's almost 2:30. Andrew, I'm a 3.5, I'm guessing. And struggling on hitting balls well when they come with no pace, especially weak serves. Hey, you talked about that in your forehand. Any suggestions?
Yeah, I think that the general tendency is to overhit when the ball's coming no pace, because you are trying to generate the pace that's the ball that you're not getting from the ball. But I say you have to practice this shot, and I would get the ball machine and have it feed balls super slow, or have a pro just kind of hand tosses, or even you can hand toss. I mean, you could, if you don't have a pro, just toss the ball up and then hit it your forehand, right? Like just toss it up and hit your forehand. That ball clearly has no pace, right? So if you can hit it off a hand toss ball, then over time you're going to get better at hitting it. But again, try not to overhit it, because that is the general tendency, is to overhit balls that have no pace.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see.
Pete got to go.
Pete. What's that? Oh yeah, Pete had to go. Yeah. On the local level, it is hard to have consistent partner every week. What was your most fun partner over the years, and what was the key to your relationship?
Oh, but it was Natasha by far. We just had a really good time on the court. She was wonky. I don't know if you guys saw the Grand Slam Call of the Month with her, but she was definitely different, and we just had a good time. You have to ideally know your partners and enjoy their company, and communication is key. We used to talk a lot before matches, after matches. We had, like, I called the mini sessions, where we would sit down and talk about anything that was upsetting during the match. We would clear it, right? We'd talk about it, get it off our system before the next match. If anything was ever upsetting me, I would definitely, or her, we definitely wanted to kind of discuss that before you get on the court again. Try to have fun. That's just a fun game.
Yeah, that's the main thing here.
See, Grace Juan said trees are calming. Grace Juan.
Trees are calming. They are.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
I won't answer the treatment for plantar fasciitis. I'm not qualified to answer that. But Mark Kovacs can answer that. So come to the summit.
Exactly. Yeah. Mark will be here doing what?
Actually, I think he might have covered that in a session we had with him, which is posted on if you go to the Grand Slam Call of the Month, if you participate in those, I just posted them all, so I think that's in there, but I don't know the answer.
Oh,
I mean, I
nice.
tell you what I
Nice.
did, but I'm not a doctor, so I'd rather not get into it.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. James, you talked about standing in the middle of the box. I fear that many of us stand and forget to move. Oh, that's the clarification, I guess.
Oh, yeah. You start in the middle of the box, and then you move in the triangle, like we talked up and back. So
Yeah, yeah, gotcha. Cool. Artie, glad you're learning. Appreciate it. Let's see. Sam, the opponent's got 3 potential match points. What's going on through your mind while serving and in the same situation while receiving? Interesting.
well, I have 3 potential match points. You
So
either
like
have 3
maybe you're
match points
down.
or you don't have 3 match points. They're not potential match points. They're match points, right? So what you're thinking in any of these situations is I got to win the next point. And that's really all you can ever think when you're playing tennis. I got to win the next point. I played the best tennis of my life. I played when all I thought, and I mean nothing else, was I got to win the next point. It didn't matter what the score was. It didn't matter my opponent. It didn't matter what round it was or what happened if I won or what happened if I lost. If I just thought I got to win the next point, I played my best tennis. So that's all you think. Whether you got 1, 2, or 3 match points, I got to win the next point.
Got it. One at a time. Love it. Lenny, hi Gigi. What do you think about just before the opponent hits the ball?
I don't. I'm not thinking at that point. I'm just looking for the ball. I'm trying to find the ball, but I'm not thinking. I don't. I mean, I was anticipating, but my anticipation was more based on the shot that I hit, because players are very patterned.
Yeah.
Most people hit the same shots over and over again, so you know that if I hit it there, it's going to go there. But I wasn't thinking per se when they were hitting the ball. I was just looking for the ball.
Looking for the ball. Got it. Yeah. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like with the patterns, I found that, lately I've been just, knowing the patterns, and like, if I like say hit the ball down the line and the player goes there, then I just immediately like move cross court, to the other side, because I know they're going to hit there, that sort of thing. Yeah. Let's see. Rosie heard the breathing. That's good. I definitely did. It was a strong breath. Good stuff. Steve, hey, again, best suggestion I ever got for any tense situation: shooting a critical free throw, big point in tennis, critical golf shot, etc. Yeah, there you go. Smile. It naturally relaxes your muscles. Very good. Chucker P, visual acuity drills. Do you have any of those?
No.
I guess like, is it like improving your, like seeing the ball? I think you mentioned that, right? Like the numbers on the ball. Yeah,
the numbers on the ball. And you know what too? Like get close to a wall, and while you're working on your volleys, that what you being the closer you get to the wall, of course, the harder it is. But you can work on your volley close to the wall, and that helps your eyes too, because you're tracking the ball. It's not always going to be there. You're going to be like having to and play pickleball. That'll help your reflexes.
There you go. True. So we have a good question from Mojagan on Facebook, actually. Does anyone have a good program to go from a 3.5 to a 4.0 player?
The Gigi Method, doubles instructional program. So that's why I always tell players, like, the difference between 3.0 and 4.0 players a lot of times is their understanding of the game of doubles. Like a lot of times tennis itself is not very different. Like when I do 3.5 4.0 clinics, a lot of times all those players can play together, and they can rally back and forth. They play points well together, but the 4.0s understand the game of doubles better, so they can take advantage of the weaknesses, and they know what shots to hit and what shots not to hit. So really get a better understanding of doubles, and your game's going to improve.
Gotcha. Let's see, a couple more comments here. Good time on the court and smile 1 point at a time mantra. That's right. Practice juggling for hand-eye coordination.
I like that. Yeah, that's
a good one. It's a tough one.
You toss the ball at the wall. Toss the ball at the wall, catch it. Toss the ball at the wall, catch it. Keep doing that. Yep.
Yeah. Unless you're in an apartment and maybe have neighbors, you might want to be careful when you do that.
Yeah, right. Oh, yes. The better glasses. This is important. Go to the next one. Make sure, go to the visual acuity.
Is there another one?
Yeah, you see
visual. I don't know why I don't see
Okay.
that for some reason.
Oh,
Huh.
so
Oh, is this
Chuck,
it?
he said, there it is. Yeah. Yeah. Better glass the numbers on the ball. So make sure that your eyes are corrected to 20/20, and make sure that you don't have a mono reading glass when you're playing tennis, like, or you have contacts. Like when I first lost my reading vision when I got in the 40s, and the
Uh-huh.
first time I went out, my doctor's like, "Oh yeah, you on your left you have your glass for the distance, and on your right you have your contact
Oh.
for close," and it worked fine in life. But the first time I went to play tennis, I forgot I was playing 5-0 court. My Monday at 9:30 clinic was 5-0s, and I always play with them. And
Uh,
I was like, I could not connect. I was like hitting the ball everywhere but the strings. So I was like, holy moly! Then the next day I switched my motor reader. So I
yeah.
asked my doctor. He's like, "Oh yeah, it messes up your depth perception. So make sure that you don't have a motor reader when you're trying to play tennis."
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. Let's see. Oh, we got more questions. Wow. Let's see. What's your opinion on the modern versus next gen forehand?
What is the next gen forehand? Like
Is it
Nadal?
like maybe like Nick Kyrgios? You know how like the racket almost like points to the court, and then you just yeah.
I don't. If as soon as she said Nick Kyrgios, I stopped focusing.
Who else can I
Sorry,
think of?
I want nothing to do with
Like,
that guy. That guy is he's so disrespectful of the game. I can't stand him. I can't wait for him to retire. It's just don't get me going on him.
okay,
Sorry.
we
If
will
anybody likes him, sorry,
switch.
but he is the most disrespectful player in the history of tennis. So he needs to move on
Yeah,
and leave the game
yeah.
alone. He's insulting to our game.
Yeah,
Anyway,
she needs
go
some
on.
help there for sure. Let's see. Next one. Rosie, this is what I have for contacts.
Yeah.
Oh, and I find it
See, you
hard to
gotta
see.
switch
There you
that.
go.
You gotta
Damn.
switch the other one, Rosie. This will be helpful.
Switch it. Switch
Yes,
it.
and Jason Bourne. Oh, what a cool name.
Oh yeah, what a
Yes,
name.
there's really a right left eye dominant. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely.
so you ever see golfers plumb bob when they go like this
Mm-hmm.
with a putter?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can tell you can read putts, and but that little thing helps you figure out which is your dominant. So if you put an object in front of you, and then you close one eye and close the other, and with one eye, oh, did you see that? So
Sorry.
let's see.
Yeah.
So if I go like this, and then you mark something here, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
edge of the mouse, and then with when you open one eye or close the other, the racket's going to move in one of
Yeah.
them. With one of them, it's not going to move, and then the one that doesn't move, that's your dominant eye.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very
So
insightful because then it kind of shows you like why maybe one stroke isn't as good as the other because you're kind of blocked at some point. Let's see. What else? What fingers do you use most when you hit a forehand? Is
oh, interesting.
it the
You gotta use your
three
whole
middle
hand. Like three middle. No, no,
hmm.
like so.
Or the three top?
No,
No,
I'm
the three
using these
top.
three. These three,
Oh, okay. Oh,
right? The
oh,
three
okay. That makes
bottom.
sense.
That's what,
Okay, okay.
right? But
That makes
depends on your
sense.
grip. So that's not a fair question. On the volley though, these two fingers on the forehand volley, so you squeeze in
Uh,
there, and then on the backhand volley. Wait, is that backwards? No, I'm sorry. In the forehand volley, these two fingers. So these could almost
mm,
come off the racket. And then on the backhand volley, these two fingers, the two lower ones,
yeah,
squeeze.
yeah. Gotcha. Awesome.
I gotta go get my
I know.
kids at school. What time do we
Oh
finish?
my gosh. Oh, we should probably finish like right now then. Should I ask
Okay,
one more
two
question or
more
no?
questions. Yeah, two more.
Oh, two more. Okay, thank you. I need to hurry up. Completely agree with oh, so I shouldn't have brought that up.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Damn it. Sorry. You could tell the dominant eye line up an object. Oh, that's
Yeah,
what
we
you
just
said.
did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When you receive serve, what side did you favor more? Did you cheat a little?
When I
Oh, you
received
like the
service. Yeah, I
backhand.
like my backhand. I like my backhand.
Yeah.
So I did
Yeah.
cheat. I did, but I didn't cheat. Okay, so be careful with cheating before the person hits the serve, right? Because you don't want to stand where the opponent knows that you like your backhand. You want to stand in the normal spot, and then when they start tossing the ball, then you can take a step over to the
Mm.
whatever shot you prefer. So don't give it away.
Got it. Got it. Very cool. Well, Hey, I just want to thank Gigi so much for coming on today. And also, I want to encourage you all, if you enjoyed this session and you want lifetime access to it and all the other 40+ sessions, then you can go to this link that I just put in here to get it through Gigi. Yeah, exactly. So, of course, yeah. And that will, obviously help support Gigi if you go through that link. So I definitely would highly encourage you to do that if you want access to all the sessions whenever you want to see them. So Gigi, I want to let you pick up your kids. I don't want them to ask who was the mean guy who made you late. So
made me late. No, it's all good.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. I always enjoy these chats. Thank you all for continuing to follow, and hopefully our paths cross at some point. I've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Talked about the summit. I have the Bryan Brothers camp. I'm gonna do some stuff that I can't announce yet, but you'll hear about it. So pretty cool stuff coming up. Thank you for following.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah, everybody support Gigi, and thanks so much to you, Gigi, for coming, and for everybody else for watching. So thanks a lot. Have a great one, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks, you too. Bye.